This week on Ebert and Roeper, an accident pits Ben Affleck against Samuel L. Jackson in Changing Lanes.
Also, Matthew McConaughey claims his brother is the serial killer in Frailty.
And Cameron Diaz is nervous around men in The Sweetest Thing.
Dad leaves the scene of an accident.
Dad cheats on his wife.
Can I have my file back, please?
Take me half an hour to get to my bank. Now, if my credit's not on by the time I get there, I destroy the file.
A fender bender turns into a day of angry warfare between Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Affleck, who are both right and are both wrong in Changing Lanes. It's one of 5 new movies this week, and I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. Our first movie is The Sweetest Thing, which proves that a gross-out romantic comedy starring 3 women and written by a woman can be just as disgusting, degrading, and dumb as anything the guys can do. Cameron Diaz nearly drowns in a sea of bad jokes and overplayed physical bits as Christina, an annoying party gal in leather pants and half shirts who pals around with her equally shrill friends Courtney and Jane, played by Christina Applegate and Selma Blair.
Cheater. What's up?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Applegate's character is supposed to be a successful attorney, but she talks and acts like an 8th grader. One night in a club filled with gyrating idiots, Christina meets Peter, played by Thomas Jane. After about 3 minutes of excruciatingly contrived banter, she decides he's the one. So Christina and Courtney go on a road trip in search of Petey.
What is this? Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been in here. What is in here? No! That is not okay. It isn't okay. You're a disgusting, nasty pig. Do you understand? There was a maggot on that.
The Sweetest Thing has nothing insightful to say about relationships and nothing funny to say about the singles scene. Diaz, Applegate, and Blair are humiliated at every turn, whether they're getting soaked by an exploding urinal in a men's room, getting caught in cartoonishly grotesque sexual situations, or just wearing really bad underwear. Now, what I'd like to see is a documentary trailing Cameron Diaz from the moment she decided to do this disaster. She's one of the hottest actresses of her generation. She presumably has an early look at dozens of scripts, and this is what she found at the bottom of the garbage bin?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. You know, I wasn't expecting anything insightful about relationships, but I was expecting something funny. And, you know, potentially these 3 girls could have been funny in this movie because they're dizzy, they're silly, they think that they're still on Living Color as dancers and the show is still on the air. I mean, when she walks up the street in the first shot...
Oh, she's even a bad dancer, though.
It has a certain charm. But you know what's the matter with this movie? They made a checklist of every physical joke in There's Something About Mary and tried to rip it off, and it doesn't work. One after another, it doesn't work. The whole business of the guy who gets caught in his zipper is recycled here into that scene where her roommate gets caught. I won't say how, and I believe it's physically.
Yeah, they do rip off.
And they always think it is physically impossible to get caught that way. So it isn't funny. It's just you're kind of looking at the screen. Like
I think the big conceit here was they said, let's get 3 women in a roles that men would normally play in a gross-out comedy, and won't that be a big turn of events? But you know what? A stupid comedy is a stupid comedy, whether the leads are women or men.
And it's dirty. It's just dirty. I mean, There's Something About Mary was funny because nobody wanted those things to happen. In this movie, apparently they want them to happen, and that's why you feel distaste.
These people are idiots in this movie.
Okay, fine. Our next movie, thank you for summing it up in one word.
Thank you.
Our next movie is named Frailty. This is a powerful, impressive directorial debut by Bill Paxton, who also stars as the loving father of 2 sons. Their life is a happy one until one night he wakes his sons to tell them that an angel has come to him with instructions to kill local people who are really demons. He's not crazy, and he's not a violent man, but he believes that when God tells you to do something, you do it.
We don't fear these demons. We destroy them. We pick them up one by one and we pitch them out of this world. That's God's purpose for us. The angel called us God's hands.
So we're like superheroes?
That's right. We're a family of superheroes that are going to help save the world.
Years later, one of those young boys, now grown to manhood, walks into the office of an FBI agent to talk about the God's Hand serial killings, which still continue. Matthew McConaughey is the son, and Powers Booth is the lawman.
Because in a case like this, nobody just walks in the office and tells you who the killer is. It just doesn't happen that way.
Sometimes truth defies reason, Agent Dole.
Yeah? So who is it then?
brother.
The two children are terrified, and the emotional center of the movie involves their feelings. The younger one, played by Jeremy Sumpter, wants to obey his father, but the older one, played by Matthew O'Leary, has another idea.
Dad's brainwashed you. It's all a big lie. He's a murderer and you help him. Nuh-uh. We're just serving God's will. I'm telling Dad on you.
At a time when religion supplies the rationale for violence all over the world, Frailty asks an inescapable question. Does anyone have the right to impose their will on others in this world because of what they believe will happen in the next world? Frailty is a fearless and unforgettable film, and it really has no villains. It's not a horror film or a police procedural, but a tragic story of destroyed lives. Paxton never cheapens this material and never compromises, and the performances by him and McConaughey, Booth, and the two child actors are heartbreaking.
Great acting, and this movie really takes you on a... I love the way that it took chances and really asks you to take these great leaps of faith and pays off. This one really took me by surprise at several turns, and you're right about the performances. A movie like this with the two kids having such prominent roles, if they're not good actors, it might fall apart, but they do a great job, and it's one of the best movies of the year so far.
People are going to be coming out of the theater asking themselves this question: is the angel real? You see, if he imagines the angel gives him these instructions, then that's one thing. But if the angel really gives him the instructions, then it's even scarier, and there's reason to believe that that interpretation is also defensible. And in that case, it really leads you to some hard
and you
questions.
said there are no villains here. I think there might be, but they're not who you think they are, and you have to think about it afterward. And it's that smart of a film that really gets you talking about it afterward. What you mean. The villains you're referring to may be villains, or they may be all in somebody's mind. Exactly, I think.
And that's
good stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That's interesting
You're
stuff.
right. It's one of the year's best films. Coming up later in the show, a day on the Big Apple turns rotten for Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Affleck in Changing Lanes. Plus, Kirsten Dunst is at the heart of a Hollywood murder in The Cat's Meow.
And coming up next, 3 of the best new titles on home video.
Kill the lights!
Ebert Roeper's Thumbs Up Video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
What's wrong? I don't know who I am.
This week on our Thumbs Up Video segment, Mulholland Drive. Like a lot of reviewers, I had this beautifully bizarre David Lynch travelogue of the soul near the top of my list of the best movies of 2001. But I wonder if all our attempts to decipher the plot scared away some viewers. We made the experience of going to see this movie seem like a lot of hard work. True, Mulholland Drive is nearly impossible to figure out, but it's also effective as a creepy and very sexy thriller.
Listen.
Naomi Watts is an aspiring actress, and Laura Elena Herring is a mystery woman suffering from amnesia. In their quest to discover Herring's true identity, they develop a very close bond.
It's more comfortable than the couch, isn't it? Yes.
Mulholland Drive is like an abstract painting. You can analyze it to death, or you can let it wash over you and appreciate the artistry. Either way, it's one of the most unusual and haunting films of the last few years.
You know, I just led a group analysis of Mulholland Drive, a shot at a time, at the University of Colorado this week. And I agree, it's very strange and very good. I'd like to also recommend 2 other movies that are new to DVD. Joe versus the Volcano is the first one. It's a Tom Hanks sleeper with a special goofy genius. Hanks plays an office slave who quits and goes to a tropical island where he has adventures that make Castaway look like a vacation.
Ooh. Is there any ceremony or anything? No, you just jump in.
Also recommended, Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy from 1990, which approaches the comic strip with wild invention and manic glee. The exaggerations of characters and settings are magical. Because the look of the movie is so crucial, let's pay tribute to Dick Silbert, its great production designer, who also designed Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, and many others from 1959 until this year, and who died last month.
Yeah, Dick Tracy's a beautiful-looking film. And Joe versus the Volcano, that's the first time Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan were together on the screen. Okay, coming up next, an odd love triangle as at the heart of human nature.
And coming up later, Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson get into a little traffic accident that escalates into a life-changing war of nerves in Changing Lanes.
I had a sweet little mongrel doggy named Puff when I was a little girl.
Puff.
This one reminds me of my dog. All shaggy, so cute.
If you love Being John Malkovich, you may not love, but you may definitely like a lot Human Nature, a quirky oddball comedy. Look at this pedigree. It was written by Charles Kaufman, who wrote Malkovich, produced by Spike Jonze, who directed that great film, and it's directed by Michel Gondry, who made a lot of Bjork's music videos. The story involves a thin line between man and beast. Patricia Arquette plays a woman covered with hair, and Rhys Ifans is a boy raised in the wild as a chimpanzee.
I can change him. I can teach him. I can save this unfortunate man's life.
They both fall into the orbit of a scientist played by Tim Robbins, who was trained by his parents using a system of rewards and punishments, and who uses the same system to train white mice and poor Rhys Ifans.
How is everything?
Just spectacular. Great salmon. Fantastico. You gotta give me the recipe. My compliments to the chef.
I'm glad you like it. The chef will be very...
The message of Human Nature is that we must be true to ourselves despite the weird techniques that society uses to try to shape us. Rhys Ifans is hilarious as a poor guy with all the natural sexual instincts of a normal ape and none of the inhibitions of human civilization. Tim Robbins tries to inhibit him with an electric collar, but you know what? Sometimes sex is worth being shot. Rosie Perez plays the most sensible character, an electrolysis specialist who starts out removing Arquette's body hair and ends up removing her fears. Like Being John Malkovich, this is a movie that makes itself up as it goes along, original, unpredictable, unconventional, and funny.
Well, it might be all those things, although I don't think it's funny enough or insightful enough to recommend. So I'm saying, yeah, I appreciate the effort. It's way out there, but not effective enough. I don't think the characters are true to themselves. You say that's the message, but they're not. Patricia Arquette's character, for example, kind of just sells herself out in the middle of the movie for no real reason. And Tim Robbins' character is supposed to be this really shy, mousy scientist, but all of a sudden he becomes this really arrogant, domineering guy. Which is he?
How about this? Well, who cares in a movie like this?
Care.
I mean, this is not, we're not looking for psychological depth here. We're looking for
I think we are. I think we are.
We're looking for the fact that these people are very quirky. They say funny things. They do funny things. They live in a very funny world. And this is a world we've never seen before in this way.
Well, no, we haven't seen Patricia Arquette covered in body hair before. I appreciate that. And I thought the broad physical comedy was really funny stuff. But I thought when it tried to reach beyond that, that's where it failed for me.
Well, I mean, who cares if it reaches beyond that?
Well, I think the filmmakers do. That's what they're trying to do. And I'm saying at that level, it doesn't work. Okay. So a reluctant thumbs down, but I'm sticking with my opinion. Thank you.
Reluctant to me.
Okay, our next movie is The Cat's Meow, and it's one of the liveliest efforts in many a year from director Peter Bogdanovich, who crested in the 1970s with films such as The Last Picture Show and Paper Moon. Bogdanovich is a lifelong film scholar whose own life is like an E-Hollywood true story marathon, so he's tailor-made to direct this fictionalized story of romance, infidelity, and maybe murder aboard the yacht of William Randolph Hearst in 1924. Kirsten Dunst sparkles as the mogul's mistress, movie star Marion Davies.
This is one of Willie's insightful movie reviewers, especially insightful because of the wonderful things she writes about me.
And I wrote them before I knew that you were Mr. Hearst. You know, before you and the boss, I knew that, Gosh, this thing is big, isn't it?
And that's Jennifer Tilly in her usual nails-on-a-chalkboard mode as Luella Parsons. Edward Herrmann plays Hearst as a beefy, paranoid buffoon.
Go right ahead and keep on spying, because there's nothing to see.
There have been whispers, Marion.
Well, stop listening to whispers and listen to me. There's nothing going on between me and Charlie.
The comedian Eddie Izzard plays Charlie Chaplin as a raging egomaniac who's almost as charming and romantic as he thinks he is.
I've met it. You're in love with me, aren't you?
Not as much as you are with you, Charlie.
That's what happened.
When Hearst learns of the Chaplin-Davies affair, he's filled with murderous thoughts and violence does ensue, but what happens from there is a matter of interpretation and speculation. Hearst is powerful and ruthless enough to essentially invent the truth, and the movie stars and gossip columnists and flappers on board can either totally buy into it or use it to their own advantage. Whatever did take place on that Hearst yacht in November of 1924 probably bears little resemblance to this story, but The Cat's Meow is an entertaining flight of fancy filled with a lot of strong performances.
Well, I liked it too. Let's look at Hollywood royalty and these people on this wonderful yacht with all of their money and all of their egos. And you know, this story's been around in one form or another for a long time. Jonathan Rosenbaum of the Chicago Reader, an expert on Orson Welles, tells me that Welles wanted to put a version of this into Citizen Kane, figuring that Hearst would never have the nerve to protest against it because that would then give it a certain credibility.
Exactly.
That he couldn't
acknowledge
dare
that something
to
like that
acknowledge.
might have actually happened on
And
this
then
ship.
what Wells eventually made was a movie called Lady from Shanghai, which is kind of a version of this, taken into a very exotic setting. Now, finally, Bogdanovich, who was a very good friend of Orson Welles and heard the story from Welles, has made this movie, which is a fascinating speculation about Hollywood history, even though the movie itself says nobody really knows, as you said.
Yeah, even who was on ship. You know, we know some of those people were really there, maybe some of the other ones weren't, but it's beautifully directed, and there's a certain melancholy. All these people, they have such fun, or such forced fun when they're together, then they retreat to their separate cabins, and you see the various despair and angst and heartache that's going on. So I was really surprised by this film. Really entertaining and works on a multitude of levels, I thought.
Shows how Hearst had all the power in the world, except he did have to give a lifetime contract to Llewellyn Parsons.
Yeah.
When we come back, changing lanes with Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Affleck at each other's throats over a fender bender.
I don't want your check, man. It's important to me that we do this right. It should be important to you, too.
Sorry, I gotta go.
You sorry what?
I gotta go, man. I'm late. I have to go.
I gotta go somewhere, too, man. Can I get a lift?
I'm sorry.
Where you going, man? Come on, man. Don't leave me out here like this,
Sorry.
man.
Better luck next time.
In Changing Lanes, those are two men who desperately need to get to court on time. Ben Affleck plays a high-powered Wall Street lawyer who needs to legally steal a lot of money, and Samuel L. Jackson is a recovering alcoholic who hopes to win back his alienated family. Both men are flawed, and both flaws are the same. Hot tempers, flashes of uncontrolled anger. Affleck draws first blood, but will regret it because he left Jackson holding a crucial legal document.
What I want is my morning back. I need you to give my time back to me. Can you give my time back to me? Huh? Can you?
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa.
So she won't move to Oregon. So she won't take the boys. So they'll move into the house so I can be a father.
Affleck's colleague, played by Toni Collette, knows the name of a fixer who can turn up the heat under Jackson.
He helps out with things that need helping out.
Affleck meets the guy, played by Dylan Baker, a creep who seems to consider even a Wall Street lawyer to be a babe in the woods compared to him.
We're all set. May I?
Is there any other way?
Well, sure. Call him up and just be nice to him.
All right, do it.
When Jackson finds out his credit rating has been deep six, just when he was going to close on a house for his family, he blows up at the banker, played by Matt Malloy.
I'm still the same guy. I wasn't bankrupt yesterday, and I'm not bankrupt today.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gibson. The computer says you are.
This is one of the year's best films, directed by Roger Michell, with a screenplay by Chap Taylor and Michael Tolkien that's unsentimental, realistic, and merciless about both characters. The dialogue is stunning. There's a speech by Amanda Peet as Affleck's wife that chillingly lays their lives on the line. This is a movie about two flawed men who hit bottom on the same day and are forced to confront their weaknesses. And at the same time, it exposes the worlds they live in and the assumptions they hold.
I agree with you completely. I think this is Ben Affleck's best role, best performance, and Samuel L. Jackson is always good. And you mentioned some of the supporting characters like Amanda Peet, Toni Collette. They're so good, and they add such depth here. This is a really surprising film because you think it's going to be just these two guys going at it. But you know what? If they never had that fender bender, they got a lot of problems in their lives that they might not have confronted, oddly enough, if they hadn't collided.
I love the fact that this movie allows moral complexity. It's not a good guy and a bad guy who chases him for the whole movie. It's two guys who find that this is the catalyst for a whole day of misery, and at the same time, there's not even an easy black-white relationship in the morality of the film, because you have Sidney Pollack as the veteran lawyer, who has a very interesting speech in which he says, okay, maybe we're stealing from this guy, but on the other hand, does he have daycare centers in his Malaysian factories?
Yeah, he points out a lot of
Didn't he set up
that,
this foundation just in order to save money on taxes?
That's what I like about this script. It pulls the rug out from under you. Just when you're ready to hate one character or really sympathize with another character, something happens to send you off in a different direction. So I agree with you. It is one of the year's best movies.
It sure is.
Okay, looking ahead to next week's openings, we'll review The Rock in The Scorpion King.
Okay, taking another look at this week's movies. 2 thumbs down for The Sweetest Thing, 2 thumbs way up for Frailty. We split on Human Nature. But 2 thumbs up for the cat's meow and 2 very big thumbs up for changing lanes.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroeper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Sandra Bullock in Murder by Numbers, and until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, when you look at these 2 movies, Changing Lanes and Frailty, you realize that so many movies are just one-dimensional when it comes to morality. You have the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah.
Here are movies that are about the whole complexity of it.
That's an excellent point. In each case, you think you know something about the lead character.
If you want all natural taste right here, you get Breyers. I know my ice cream, this is natural.
Breyers All Natural. Taste, not technology.
You can't beat the taste of a Quiznos oven-toasted sub made with the finest meats and cheeses. Try one today.
Toasty.
Facts of Life by Lysol. Fact. It's cough and cold season. Fact. Lysol spray helps stop the spread of the cold virus. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
She's your baby. That's why you serve her all-natural Tyson chicken with no additives and minimal processing. Tyson, it's what your family deserves.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Monarchy looks at auto service a little differently. Now, with the premium oil change, get free wiper blades. Monarchy, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.